Hi there, my name's Colin and this is the Action Figure Resource video channel, the place for all your action figure news, reviews, tutorials and guides. Today I'm going to be taking a look at the 1993 Batman, the animated series Wave 1 action figures released by Kenner. Before we take a deeper look at these figures, please make sure you subscribe below, smash that like button and click on the bell icon to be informed of all my future videos. When you click on the bell icon, make sure you select all on the drop down menu so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Okay.
ActionFigureResource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.
Batman, the animated series, aired from 1992 to 1995 and was turned into 3 toy lines by Kenner. The first was the Batman, the animated series, which is what I'm going to be taking a look at today. There were 4 waves of this line released between 1993 and 1995. Also released in 1993 was a line of action figures based on the Mask of Phantasm movie, which was quickly pulled out of theatres due to its poor reception and was released on the direct home video market. Then in 1995, Kenner released the Batman, the animated series Crime Squad line. But for today's video, I am going to be taking a look at the Wave 1 Batman the Animated Series wave of figures released in 1993. As usual, the figures were blister packed onto generic backing cards. The front facing card had a shadowy image of the Dark Knight in the top left hand corner, and just below this was Batman, the animated series logo written in iconic white font. To the right of this, at the top of the card, was the character's name in yellow font, and the bottom half of the card was the blister pack containing the figure on the right and his accessories on the left. Kenner's logo was also visible on the bottom left corner of the blister. On the back of the backing card, the name of the series and the figure was written on the top left hand side. Here there were also images to show clearly how to use the figure's action feature or accessories. There was also a small picture of Gotham City in the background on the right hand side. The rest of the card displays advertisements of the other toys and figures that were available in this line for collectors to collect. Both the TV series and the action figures proved to be very popular with fans, and so Kenner milked it as much as they could, thereby creating the so-called Batman syndrome. This was the name given to Kenner's habit of re-releasing the same character over and over again, and only making very minor changes in his look, colours or accessories. The figures that came in Wave 1 were the Turbo Jet Batman, Combat Belt Batman, Robin, the Penguin, the Riddler and Two-Face. So the first figure we're going to take a look at today is the Turbo Jet Batman. Support my channel in order that I can continue to make videos like this. Check out the description box below for links to the best action figure guide on the internet, with more than 60,000 individually listed action figures, given information on their release dates, the manufacturer, accessories, rarity and their historical value. If you're looking for vintage action figures to buy, then take a look at the new AFR Vintage Action Figure store. Here you'll find great prices with worldwide delivery available, multiple currencies accepted, special offers, monthly sales, and a customer loyalty program. With the customer loyalty programs, you can earn points by referring a friend, liking us on social media, or making a purchase. Your points can then be redeemed for special offers, gift vouchers, cashbacks, or freebies. For more information or to join, see the link in the description box below.
Welcome to the best action figure guide in the world, the largest database of action figures on the internet with 60,000 plus individual vintage action figures listed, including Star Wars, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Teenage Ninja Mutant Turtles, and many, many more. Each toy listing has information on its release date, the manufacturer, product number, its rarity, and the historical value of the toy. Available of our special limited time beta discount of 70% and get a full year subscription for only $14.99. Join now.
For this figure, Ken has suited Batman with a turbojet to help him fly across Gotham City fighting crime. The figure stood 5 inches in height and he was dressed in a grey suit with his boots, gloves, mask and cape all coloured black. His gloves had unique fins and there were cool silver painted harnesses and straps that were fastened across his torso, the back of his arms and his legs. The Batman logo on his chest was a yellow and black. The face of this figure was very detailed and Kenner did an excellent job with the sculpting. The paint job was also very good, adding to the overall look of this toy. This Batman figure didn't have much in the way of articulation and was only articulated on his shoulders, legs and head. But this was quite common with most toys manufactured in the 90s and particularly for Kenner toys. As for accessories, the figure came with a rocket jetpack that had a transparent helmet attached to it and a black wrist rocket gun. The gun fired a yellow missile projectile when you pressed down on the lever behind the gun. These gadgets all had elements of a bat design on them, like the fin on the helmet and the jetpack engine's edges. The jetpack could be strapped onto the back of the figure. Mint on the card on the secondary market, this sells for between $12 and $17 and loose for between $9 to $11. Next is the Combat Belt Batman. The Combat Belt Batman is often thought of as the figure most closely matching the Batman character from the animated series. The figure had a grey suit, black boots, black gloves that had fins on the side, a yellow utility belt and a removable black cloth cape. In terms of sculpting, the figure had a broad muscular chest and narrow waist. The detailing on his face was quite reasonable and fairly accurate to the cartoon character. Overall, it's a decent looking figure and the paint job was okay for such a massively produced toy. The figure's gloves, boots and tights were all painted jet black with a smooth satin finish. In contrast, his torso, arms and legs were painted a light grey. The figure had clear white eyes. The Combat Belt Batman was approximately 5 inches tall with a yellow and black Batman logo on his chest. As with most of the Kenner action figures, This figure had 5 points of articulation. For accessories, the combat belt Batman was packaged with a yellow utility belt that could be put onto the figure. The belt also had a yellow spring-loaded grappling hook that had a very long reach, a black batarang and a pair of handcuffs. The belt had some little design detail and had extra hooks to hold Batman's other accessories. The figure could hold a batarang in his hand or shoot it using the same launcher as the grappling hook. The hook was tied to a piece of string that was tied to the firing mechanism to prevent it getting lost. Mint on the card, this sells for between $25 to $90 and loose for between $15 to $21, and this is probably one of the most popular, if not most popular, figure from Wave 1. The next figure we're looking at is the Robin figure. Batman wasn't the only hero fighting crime in Gotham City, so it's only natural that Kenner included his partner in crime fighting, Robin, in this wave. This Robin figure was a great representation of the character from the animated series. The figure was sculpted in his iconic red and green Robin costume, with black boots, green gloves, a yellow belt and a black removable cape that had a yellow inner on the inside. The figure's muscles and costume were well defined. There was some yellow stitching painted onto his chest, along with the yellow and black Robin logo, and more detail on his belt. There wasn't much detail on the figure's face, but they sculpted Robin's black hair very well. Again, there was little articulation, and what there was limited to the figure's neck, shoulders and legs. The figure came with a big yellow turbo glider with a red chest plate that could be worn by Robin. The glider was armed with a firing gun and missiles that could be dropped onto villains. This sells for between $25 to $40 mint on the card and loose for between $10 to $23. The next figure we're looking at is the Penguin. The Penguin was a burly shaped figure dressed in grey pants, black shoes, a grey shirt, a cream coloured jacket with a red bow tie. He also had a top hat, monocle and a black trench coat. The sculpt and paintwork on this figure was again above average, with some great detailing on his pants and jacket. The Penguin, like many Kenner figures, had 5 points of articulation and was approximately 5 inches in height. The Penguin also came with a red Hypnospin umbrella with a white whirling design painted on top. This accessory did not look like an umbrella, but was more like a thick red barrel with a disc on the top. This weapon could be carried over his shoulder and aimed to hypnotize his enemies. Like the other figures in this line, visual guides to how the accessories could be used were found on the back of the backing card. Mint on the card, this figure sells for between $49.99 and $79.95 and loose for around $5.50 and $20. The next figure is the Riddler. The Riddler was one of the most accurate figures in this line, based on the TV animated series. His outfit was a great match with the character from the show. He was dressed in a green jacket with a black shirt, grey pants, a big grey tie, green shoes, a purple mask and gloves. His tie even had his infamous question mark painted in purple on it. The Riddler was also about 5 inches in the height and only had 5 points of articulation. The colours on this figure were well painted and accentuated the sculpting detail. The best part of the sculpt was the Riddler's laughing expression on the head sculpt. The figure came with a multi-purpose question mark launcher and a green walking cane. The launcher fired a green missile projectile that could also be used for sliding down a zip line. This was a simple but very cool action feature to have. Mint on the card, the Riddler sells for between $15 and $23 and loose for between $5 and $11, and to my mind represents one of the best values of all the Kenner Batman action figures. Another favourite of mine is the next figure, which is the Two-Face figure. This was a really unique figure. The colour scheme was excellently executed, not only with his black and white outfit, but even his bodily features. Half of his face, hair and one of his hands was white. Kenner did a really good job with the figure's appearance, but rather than white, they used a shade of blue to design the character. The sculpt on the face was really amazing, staying true to the figure's nature. This figure also had Kenner's standard 5 points of articulation on the neck, arms and legs, and stood approximately 5 inches in height. Two-Face's main gimmick was his firing roulette wheel gun. This was a double-barreled gun that fired a twin missile at his enemies. You had to spin a roulette wheel to fire the missiles before clicking on a peg to fire it. This figure is one of my favourites from the Kenner Batman line of action figures and was a cool figure to have in your collection. Mint on the car, he sells for between $15 and $45 and loose for between $9 to $14. So it is a reasonably inexpensive figure to add to your collection. Do you have any of these figures in your collection, or did you have any of these? Let me know in the comments below. Please make sure you subscribe below, smash that like button and click on the bell icon to be informed of all my future videos. When you click on the bell icon, make sure you select all on the drop down menu so that you get notified whenever I upload a new video.
actionfigureresource.com. Yesterday's toys, today's treasures.